Home Sweet Home-Dum-Diddly Doodily, apart from being a pretty fantastic title to say, is a really interesting episode of The Simpsons, and probably one of the most thought-provoking, but also one of the most poignant, I think. It discusses some really important topics that I think might have a lasting effect on some people, and it might also be quite hurtful to some people as well. Not that that's what the show was intending, but if you can relate to it, it may be, a little bit raw. This is the third episode of the 7th season of The Simpsons, aired originally in November 1995, it's directed by Susie Dieter, and in this one thing leads to another, and Bart and Lisa are a mess, and the Simpsons' house is a mess, and it's not that they've neglected everything, it's just various different factors all aligned at the same time to result in this, and social services get wind of this, and they end up sending Bart and Lisa to live with the Flanders while they investigate this. Marge and Homer, and Maggie as well, of course, Marge and Homer lose custody of their children because from an outside perspective, with the children wearing rags and there being dirty dishes in the sink and everything being in a disarray, to the outsiders, it looks like these children are being neglected. And it's really emotional as... Obviously, it has comedic moments in it. It's The Simpsons. It has a lot of light relief. But there are some really heartwarming moments where we see them sharing love for each other, but also some really heartbreaking moments when Bart and Lisa wish they were at home. Obviously, they're just across the street, well, right next to each other, which in some ways I think makes it worse, being so close, but not being allowed to see your parents. And Marge is completely beside herself. And I think it's something that a lot of people probably experience. Social services, at least in the UK, I'm not entirely sure what things are like in America, but in the UK, if there's any suggestion that a child is being neglected, sometimes social services will do some home monitoring to begin with, but a lot of the times they're taken out of their home just so they can investigate it, because quite frankly, in the past, probably even nowadays as well, social services would let children slip under the radar. They wouldn't give them, because of restrained resources and things, the care that children needed wasn't always there. A lot of children ended up being badly abused or, other horrific things that I won't go into. So nowadays, this is the kind of thing that would happen. If there's any suggestion that there is severe neglect, they would be taken away from their home until an investigation could happen. And I expect that there will be people who have moments like this where for some reason just things get away from them. Maybe they're, things like depression, other mental illnesses that can cause a parent or parents under a lot of stress and pressure to just let things slip just briefly. But it's enough that outsiders are going to judge. And I feel like it's discussing something that's really important. And it doesn't do it in a way that says every child taken into care shouldn't have been because people don't know the truth. But it is saying that not everything is black and white. And yes, it is funny in places. There are comedic moments, but this for me is one of the most raw and meaningful episodes that can be a real eye-opener for some people. And as I said, unfortunately, probably also something that a lot of people will be able to relate to in certain circumstances. So I really thoroughly enjoyed it for the right reasons, but it's definitely not the easiest episode to watch. Definitely a favourite, but not the funniest.